Thank you for being with us on Boardroom Buzz.
Thank you. My pleasure being here.
So how will the learnings from the pandemic shape the way that you address future issues?
Well, I think the pandemic taught us that there's a lot of things that we didn't think were possible that are. The way we shifted from being in person to being on Zoom and other remote meetings, remote ways of interacting with each other, people who said that just wasn't possible. You couldn't do business that way. And we've learned over the past few years that you can do things remotely. You can do things using technology that we didn't think existed or we didn't think allowed for the same type of interaction. There's limits, of course, and I think now as we're coming out of the pandemic, we're learning that there's something you can't truly replace. There is an in-person element that needs to be there, but at the same time, you don't need to be in person for every meeting. You don't have to do everything the way we did it before March of 2020. And that allows for new opportunities. It allows you to have, increase your diversity on a board, your diversity in building a team that somebody who, for geographic reasons, for family reasons, can't be in person every day, but they can be part of the process. So I think it really opened us up to new ways of thinking about things, fewer limits and more opportunities, ways to bring people together and interact.
Is there an insight or experience that you would share with your peers that made you a better director?
I think being on a board, and I know this from my own personal experience serving on nonprofit boards, as well as a corporate lawyer advising boards and organizations, implementing boards, dealing with boards, is you have to understand what the role of a board is. The role of the board, it's a problem-solving team at the end of the day. Yes, the law says that the board manages the organization. We know that boards have oversight responsibility, but really what you're doing is you're serving a problem-solving function. Management is in the weeds, they're dealing with day-to-day tasks, and your job on a board is to take a step back, to bring a different perspective and to say, okay, let's not lose the forest for the trees here. Let's see if we're doing the right thing. Let's see if what we're trying to do is working. And are there different ways? Are there different opportunities? Are there different methods we can try? It's problem solving. It's being able to identify different problems, being able to identify what's giving rise to them, identify possible solutions that management may not see, and then holding management accountable for implementing the agreed upon solutions. So understanding that your role isn't to replace management, but it's also not to rubber stamp management, but really to bring that different perspective and approach it as part of a team focusing on problem solving and making the business or the organization better.
That's great. Is there an experience outside the boardroom that maybe surprisingly influenced the way that you behave as a director?
I have a number of experiences that have really shaped my career, my understanding of boards. I was actually very fortunate that when I was in high school, I was part of a student organization, an educational organization called Future Problem Solving that teaches students not what to think, but how to apply a 6-step problem solving method to social and political challenges of the future, as well as business and science challenges. And it really shaped my academic career, my professional career. The lessons that I learned in that program are actually what I teach boards today about how to approach the problem-solving task, how to work with one another. I was very fortunate that I was able to take those lessons from that student organization, whose board I served on, by the way. I actually ended up later in life serving on the board of that organization, as well as on a couple of their state-level affiliates, too. I applied it in my academic career. I was fortunate to attend the School of Public and International Affairs at Princeton, where you have policy task forces. What are those? Problem-solving teams. Again, working with others, each person taking a piece of the puzzle, bringing it together into a group solution. That's what boards do. And that's how I've advised my clients since. And then after that I went to law school, where I learned to think critically, to read carefully, to seek to parse things out that others may miss. All of that is important to being on a board, is to look at things from a different perspective, to understand, to be part of that team. You're not on your own. One board member has no authority to do anything, but as part of the group, you together are responsible for the organization and bring that different perspective.
That's really great. Thank you so much for sharing, Jason.
Thank you. My pleasure. Happy to be here.